What if your mirror has been trying to save your life every single morning, and every time you looked into it, you saw the proof staring back, but nobody ever taught you how to read the warning signs? Before your reflection reveals another secret, do me a favor. Smash that like button so this message reaches everyone who needs it. Subscribe if you are tired of health advice that treats you like a number, and share this with the one person who keeps saying they feel off but cannot explain why. Your click might change their entire timeline. Let's talk about that tiny butterfly-shaped gland sitting at the front of your neck, your thyroid. It is no bigger than a walnut, yet it operates like the main electrical panel for your entire body. It dictates your metabolism, your mood, your body temperature, how fast your heart beats, how quickly your digestion moves, and even the speed at which your skin cells replace themselves. When it is healthy, you feel electric. You wake up ready, your skin glows, your mind is sharp. When it slows down, a condition called hypothyroidism, everything begins to dim. The lights do not go out all at once, they flicker first, and here is the part that should make you furious. Millions of people are walking around right now completely undiagnosed, silently suffering, because the early symptoms are written off as stress, bad genetics, or just the inevitable toll of getting older. The American Thyroid Association estimates that roughly 20 million Americans have some form of thyroid disease, and up to 60% of them do not know it. That is not a small number. That is an epidemic hiding in plain sight, and because the symptoms show up on your face and skin first, people treat them with cosmetics instead of endocrinology. The mirror becomes a place of shame instead of a tool of discovery. We need to flip that script today. The real conflict here is not just medical, it is deeply personal, and it attacks your identity. You wake up, you shuffle to the bathroom, you flick on the light, and you look at your face. Something feels wrong. You cannot always name it. It is not one thing. It is a collection of small betrayals. The face seems slightly wider, the eyes look heavier, the skin has lost its language. You do not recognize yourself anymore, so you buy expensive creams, you change your diet, you sleep 9 hours, you drink water until you float, and still, that stranger looks back at you. Then the comments start. People ask if you are tired, they ask if you are feeling okay, you start avoiding cameras, you start avoiding mirrors, you begin to believe that you are falling apart, that you are not trying hard enough, that this is simply what aging feels like in a world that demands perfection. But what if none of that is true? What if your cells are literally starving for thyroid hormone, and the world keeps telling you to take a nap and eat a salad? That gap between what you see and what you are told creates a kind of silent suffering that erodes your confidence, your sanity, and your trust in your own perception. Today we are closing that gap. We are going through 15 signs your thyroid is failing, signs you can see right now in your mirror without a single prescription pad in sight. Let's start with the face, because that is where the story usually begins. The first sign is puffiness, not the kind of bloating that comes from a salty dinner or a night of crying. This is a persistent, doughy swelling across your cheeks and jawline. It is called myxedema, and it happens because hypothyroidism causes deposits of mucopolysaccharides to build up in your skin and connective tissue. These complex substances attract water like a sponge and create a thick, puffy appearance that no amount of contouring can hide. You press your finger into your cheek and it bounces back slowly, if at all. You might notice it first thing in the morning, but unlike normal sleep puffiness, it never really leaves. It settles in, it becomes the new normal. You might take a selfie and delete it immediately. You might avoid reunions because you do not want to hear that you look different. That difference has a name. It is myxedema. And it is reversible once you treat the root. You contour with makeup, you angle your face away from the camera, you avoid video calls. But the mirror knows. The mirror sees the metabolic slowdown in real time. It sees a face that is being sculpted by chemistry, not calories. Then there are your eyebrows, specifically the outer third. You are brushing them one day and you notice gaps, sparse patches where hair used to grow thick and defined. This is known as Hypothyroidism sign, and it is one of the most classic yet most ignored indicators of hypothyroidism. When thyroid hormone drops, your body enters survival mode. It rations energy with brutal efficiency. Hair growth on your eyebrows is not essential for keeping your heart beating or your lungs breathing, so the follicles simply shut down. They go dormant. You fill them in with pencils and powders. You blame overplucking from your teenage years. You blame the trend of thin brows from the 90s. But the biology is undeniable. Your thyroid is deciding where the limited energy goes, and your brows did not make the survival cut. Look closely. Are the tails of your brows vanishing? That is not a fashion casualty. That is a hormonal emergency. Your eyes carry their own devastating evidence. Look closely. Are your eyelids swollen? Do you have persistent bags that no amount of sleep, cold spoons, or caffeine serum can erase? This is not fatigue. This is not allergies. This is tissue accumulation around the orbital area because your lymphatic drainage and cellular metabolism have slowed to a crawl. The skin around your eyes is the thinnest on your body. When fluid and metabolic deposits collect there, it shows immediately. People ask if you are sick. They ask if you are getting enough rest. You say you are just busy. You say it is allergy season. But deep down, you know this is different. It is a heaviness, a physical weight on your face that mirrors the exhaustion inside your body. Your eyes are supposed to be the window to your soul. Right now, they are the window to your T3 levels. Now look at the color of your skin, not the beautiful tone you were born with, but the tint that has crept in over months like a slow stain. Is there a yellowish-orange cast, especially on the palms of your hands or the soles of your feet? That is carotenemia. In a healthy body, beta-carotene from vegetables converts efficiently into vitamin A through processes that rely on thyroid hormone. In hypothyroidism, that conversion slows dramatically, like a factory assembly line grinding to a halt. The pigment builds up in your skin, and you literally begin to turn the color of the carrots and sweet potatoes you eat. It is harmless in isolation, but it is a billboard advertisement that your metabolism is stuck in traffic. You are eating healthy, you are doing everything right, and your skin is painting a different picture. And then there is the pallor, a pale, almost waxy, ghost-like complexion that makes you look like you have not seen the sun in years, even in the middle of summer. Thyroid hormone stimulates the production of red blood cells and drives circulation to the surface of your skin. When levels are low, blood does not rise to the surface the way it should. You lose that pink, alive glow. Friends tell you to take a vacation. You try blush, bronzer, anything to look human again. But makeup cannot replace the oxygen and warmth that a thriving thyroid provides. You look washed out, you look faded, you look like a photocopy of yourself. Let's move to your skin because it is the largest organ you own and it is screaming at you in a language you were never taught to understand. Touch your arm. Is it dry? Not just winter dry. I mean rough, scaly, almost sandpaper-like, particularly on your shins, elbows, and knees. In a healthy person, skin cells turn over every 20 to 30 days. With hypothyroidism, that process can take 60 days or more. Dead cells pile up like dust on a forgotten shelf. You slather on lotion, and 20 minutes later the desert returns. This is not a skincare problem, it is a cellular energy problem. Your skin cannot shed and renew because it does not have the metabolic fuel to do the work. The mitochondria inside those skin cells are suffocating, and the result is ash on your skin. Your hair tells a similar heartbreaking story. Run your fingers through it. Does it feel coarse, straw-like, brittle to the touch, snapping when you brush it? Healthy hair is supple because of sebum, the natural oil your scalp produces. Thyroid hormone regulates those sebaceous glands with precision. When hormone levels crash, oil production dries up. Your hair loses its shine, its bounce, its softness. You find more strands in the shower drain, on your pillow, woven into your sweater, caught in your car's headrest. There is a moment that breaks people. It is the morning they pull a handful of hair from the shower drain and realize it is more than last month. It is the moment they see their scalp through their part. That moment is grief, but it is also an alarm. It is telogen effluvium pushed into overdrive by a lack of T3 starving the follicles at the root. You buy strengthening shampoo, you take biotin by the handful, you get expensive treatments, but the root of the issue is hormonal, not cosmetic. Your hair is a plant in bad soil. No amount of pruning fixes the dirt. Look down at your nails. They are brittle. They peel in layers like old paint. They split vertically down the middle, and when they do grow, they grow slowly, almost begrudgingly. You might see deep ridges running from the cuticle to the tip, like tiny speed bumps recording every month of deficiency. Nails are metabolic mirrors. They reflect how well your body is synthesizing proteins and building tissue. When thyroid hormone is deficient, keratin production becomes erratic. The nail matrix suffers. You can cover them with gel polish, you can take collagen supplements. But those ridges are a timeline. They are a geological record of months when your metabolism was running on fumes. Your nails are writing a diary you cannot erase. Your feet might be giving you clues too, specifically your heels. Do you have deep, painful cracks that catch on your socks and sheets and make you wince when you walk barefoot? This is not just dry air or cheap shoes. It is the same slowed skin turnover that affects your arms, but concentrated on the thick, load-bearing skin of your feet. Without adequate thyroid hormone, that skin thickens, loses elasticity, and splits under the simple pressure of walking across your living room. You soak them, you scrape them with pumice, you moisturize with thick balms, but the fissures return because the cells underneath are still moving in slow motion, unable to regenerate fast enough to keep up with the daily damage. And your hands, are they puffy? Do your rings feel tight when you slide them on in the morning, leaving deep red grooves when you finally pry them off at night? You might take your wedding ring off and leave it in a drawer because the indentation it leaves feels like a scar. You might hide your hands in photos, but those puffy knuckles are not fat. They are a biological traffic jam. This is non-pitting edema, and it is a hallmark of advanced hypothyroidism. Press your finger into the back of your hand. In healthy tissue, the skin springs back immediately. In myxedema, it leaves an indentation that lingers like memory foam. This is not water weight from salt. This is hyaluronic acid and other compounds depositing into your connective tissue like biological cement. Your hands look doughy, your fingers feel stiff in the morning. You blame the weather, you blame arthritis. But your thyroid is building a monument to its own failure. And that monument is sitting at the end of your wrists, plain as day. Pause this video right now. Walk to your mirror. Count how many of these you recognize in your own reflection. If you see 3 or more, come back and comment the word "seen" below so we know who is fighting this battle with us. And while you are standing there, hit the subscribe button because we are about to enter the territory of signs that even most doctors overlook in a standard physical. Turn on all notifications. Share this video in a group chat with someone who has been silently struggling, someone who needs to know they are not imagining their own face. Let them know the mirror is finally speaking their language. Now let's go deeper, because the next 5 signs are subtle. They are the kind of things you might have noticed in passing and then immediately dismissed as weird quirks. But they are just as damning, and in some ways more dangerous because they hide in plain sight. Stick out your tongue in the mirror. Seriously, do it. Look at the sides. Is it swollen? Do you see scalloped edges? Little indentations along the lateral borders where your teeth press into the tissue? That is macroglossia, and it is a direct physical result of hypothyroidism. The tongue is a muscle, and like all muscles and soft tissues, it relies on thyroid hormone for tone, size regulation, and fluid balance. When levels drop, the tongue enlarges with accumulated fluid and proteins. You might bite it more often while eating. Your speech might feel slightly thickened, though you cannot place why. Your dentist might have commented on those teeth marks during a cleaning. That is not a quirk of anatomy. That is not normal. That is your thyroid altering the landscape of your own mouth, and you can see it anytime you are brave enough to look. Your eyelashes are next. You might notice gaps along the lash line, a thinning that makes your eyes look smaller, less open, less expressive. You blame your mascara. You blame the eyelash curler. You blame the falsies you wore to that wedding. But matarosis, the medical term for hair loss from areas where hair should grow, is common and well documented in hypothyroidism. The same mechanism that steals your eyebrow hairs is quietly attacking your lashes. They become sparse, brittle, and impossibly slow to regrow. You try growth serums, you get extensions that damage them further, but the follicles are dormant because T3 is not there to wake them up. Your eyes are framed by exhaustion because the frame itself is falling apart. Look at your neck, not just a glance in passing. Tilt your head back and look at the contour in the mirror. Do you see a fullness at the base? A visible bulge that moves when you swallow? That could be a goiter. When the thyroid is struggling to produce adequate hormone, it can enlarge as it tries to compensate, growing more tissue in a desperate attempt to trap iodine and manufacture T4. You might feel a tightness in your collar. You might notice shirts fitting differently around the neck, buttons straining. This is not weight gain, this is glandular swelling. It is your thyroid physically expanding under the workload, and it is visible if you know to look for it. Touch it. Does it feel firm, lumpy? That is not normal neck fat. That is a gland crying for help. Then there is the shape of your weight gain. Hypothyroidism does not usually make you uniformly larger in a way that makes sense. It changes your proportions in a way that feels cruel and confusing. Your face becomes rounder, moon-like. Your neck thickens. Your midsection swells with a firm, tight bloat. But your arms and legs might remain relatively thin, even muscular. This specific pattern of central and facial adiposity mixed with peripheral puffiness is a metabolic signature as unique as a fingerprint. It is caused by the combination of slowed calorie burning and the deposition of mucin in specific tissues. You look in the mirror and you see a face that does not match the body you remember from 5 years ago. That dissonance is maddening. It makes you feel like you are living in a stranger's skin. But it is also diagnostic. It is a map. Finally, your skin's repair speed. Do you have bruises that linger for 3 weeks, turning every color of the rainbow before they finally fade? A paper cut that seems to stall halfway through healing, staying open and raw for days? Thyroid hormone controls fibroblasts, the cells responsible for rebuilding tissue and producing collagen. Without adequate stimulation, wounds close at a glacial pace. A minor scratch becomes a permanent mark. Your skin loses its resilience. You look at your hands and see a roadmap of injuries that should have vanished months ago. That is not fragile skin. That is not a vitamin C deficiency. That is a factory floor where the repair crew has been sent home because there is no energy to pay them. By now, you might feel overwhelmed. You might be looking at your reflection with a mix of terror and profound relief. Terror because you recognize so many of these signs. Relief because finally someone is validating what you have been seeing for months, maybe years, in the privacy of your own bathroom. Here is the deeper truth that ties all 15 signs together, and it is the truth that will set you free. Every cell in your body has receptors for thyroid hormone. Every single one. When T3 and T4 are deficient, your cells cannot generate energy efficiently. Think of T3 as the key that unlocks energy inside your cells. Without it, the fuel sits in the tank, but the engine cannot turn over. Your skin cells suffocate in their own waste. Your hair follicles hibernate. Your nails stop building. It is like trying to power a modern city with a dying generator from 100 years ago. The body prioritizes survival with ruthless precision. The heart must beat. The brain must think enough to keep you alive, so energy is diverted away from the non-essential systems. Skin renewal becomes optional. Hair growth becomes a luxury. Nail strength is an afterthought. Your face swells because waste products are not being cleared by a sluggish lymphatic system. Your skin pales because circulation is rationed to vital organs. Your body is not betraying you. It is making impossible choices to keep you alive. But the cost is your appearance, your confidence, and often your sanity. The tragedy is that standard medicine frequently misses this entirely. You walk into a clinic with this list of visible symptoms. They run a TSH test. It comes back within range. They tell you that you are fine. They suggest antidepressants. They suggest you exercise more, eat less, stress less. They imply it is all in your head. But TSH is a pituitary hormone, not a thyroid hormone. It is an indirect signal, a telegram from your brain to your thyroid. And the standard range is notoriously broad, capturing people who are technically alive but metabolically dying. You can be profoundly symptomatic and still fall inside the so-called normal zone. Meanwhile, your face keeps swelling, your hair keeps falling. You begin to doubt your own perception. You begin to think maybe you are just getting old, maybe you are just depressed, maybe you are not trying hard enough, you are not crazy. The tests are incomplete. The mirror is more honest than the lab slip. Your eyes are better diagnostic tools than a machine that does not know your baseline. If this video has made you angry, good. You should be angry. You should be furious that you have been blaming yourself for a hormonal crisis that was never your fault. Hit the like button if you are done being dismissed by people who refuse to look at your face. Subscribe because next week I am breaking down the exact blood panel you need to demand from your doctor, including the specific tests they usually refuse to run because insurance makes it complicated. And share this video with every person who has ever looked in the mirror and felt like a stranger was staring back. Let them know the stranger has a name, and it is hypothyroidism, and it can be investigated. It can be treated, it can be understood. Let's bring this home with everything you deserve to hear. The mirror is not your enemy. It never was. It is a record keeper. It is a diagnostic tool that does not require insurance, a referral, or a waiting room where you sit for 45 minutes just to be told you are fine. Those 15 signs, the puffy face, the missing brows, the swollen lids, the yellow tint, the pale skin, the dry patches, the straw-like hair, the splitting nails, the cracked heels, the swollen hands, the scalloped tongue, the thinning lashes, the goiter, the changed proportions, the slow healing, they are not flaws to hide with filters and concealer and good lighting. They are data. They are your biology speaking a language most people were never taught, in a dialect that demands to be heard. Tomorrow morning, when you stand in front of that mirror to brush your teeth or fix your hair, I want you to pause. I want you to look with new eyes. See the puffiness not as ugliness, but as evidence of a metabolic crime scene. See the pale skin not as a lack of sunshine, but as a lack of cellular fire. See the thinning hair not as vanity lost, but as a cry for help from a gland that is drowning in its own silence. And instead of feeling shame, I want you to feel clarity. I want you to feel rage. I want you to feel hope. You are not broken. You are not lazy. You are not failing at aging. You are a human being whose internal thermostat has been turned down against your will, and you now have the proof in your own reflection. You are not a stranger. You are a version of yourself waiting for the lights to come back on. And they will, but only if you stop looking away. So print this list. Circle what you see. Walk into your next doctor's appointment not as a victim of mysterious symptoms, but as an informed advocate holding photographic evidence from your own bathroom mirror. Demand more than TSH. Demand free T3, free T4, reverse T3, and thyroid antibodies. Do not accept you're fine when your face says otherwise. Do not let a lab range defined by a statistical bell curve override the reality of your own eyes. You know your body, you have seen the changes, you have lived in the slowing. Your mirror has been honest with you this whole time. It has shown you the truth every single day, even when the world called you dramatic. The question was never whether the signs were there. The question was whether you would recognize them, whether you would trust yourself enough to believe them. Now you do. And that recognition is power. It is the first step toward reclaiming the energy, the warmth, and the face you thought you lost. The person looking back at you deserves to feel alive again. Not tomorrow, not next year. Starting the moment you decide to trust what you see, trust your mirror, trust your body, and then demand that the world catches up to both.